adult white males between the ages of, say, 18 and 25 to...
The economy sucks, you're probably never going to buy a house, your degree is useless and left you in mountains of debt. You're nowhere near capable of providing for a wife and kids, and you can't imagine yourself settling down with any of the women in your age bracket anyway, because Disney princess programming and feminism has left them fundamentally unwifeable. You've grown up in a culture which has celebrated every other form of identity besides you, and in exact proportion to how much they're not you, to the point that now schools and companies can hire based on that metric, all the while being told you can't complain or notice any of it because of how privileged you are, and if you don't know how privileged you are, it's because of your privilege. Even though you're basically a debt slave with minimal hope of a financial and familial future because your economy and culture has abandoned you. So a lot of dudes just checked out and started like smoking weed and playing video games. Some of the other ones went to countries where they like white people and men, like Thailand, I guess. And some of them were like, you know what, this is a good challenge. None of it makes sense. It's all going to shit. But fuck it, I want a big house, and if you come on my land, I'm gonna shoot you with guns. I want a bunch of kids and a wife churning butter. I'm gonna make it happen, you fucks. Tell me.
Where are the men, and why are they not doing something or stepping in when they see young ladies being punched in the face or otherwise harassed? It's not just punched in the face, it's just all sorts of harassment that occurs on these streets. And the question was, where are the men, where are the protectors? And look no further than Daniel Penny, who will have to now stand trial for his willingness to stand up for others around him and the innocent around him and do his best to protect those around him. So I think it's quite clear in this city, if you are a decent person, you are a good Samaritan, you are somebody who wants to protect other people, especially the vulnerable, the innocent, the weaker, then you might actually be the one that is punished instead of the ones that are going out and victimizing people, because that is the upside down reality of living in New York City or in a blue state. Not so in a red state. In a red state, this would not occur. And I can also tell you this, the men in red states would not allow this to occur if they were in the presence of this. You would feel more of a sense of protection being in a place like that.
Right.
We'll go back to maybe meeting in the middle here. You can be a man who has feelings and emotions, but you can also go to war and protect and defend your family. I'm hoping we can get back there. But the two extremes right now, they're confusing men, and quite frankly, they're leaving women with few choices. And that's the real tragedy here.
You see, I completely agree with you, but Andrew, you were shaking your head quite vigorously. Why?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more feminine or feminist nonsense ultimately. And the covert feminism in society is big, especially on the conservative side. So here's what happens, right? Women need to have feminine virtues for men to be pursuing masculine virtues, for you to say things like, well, men, what I want is for men to protect me and I want men to make money. Well, that's great. What that ends up doing is it gives you a set of privilege in society. What do men get? What do men get for doing that for you? What are we getting from women for doing that? Are we getting chaste virgins on our wedding night? No, we're not getting chaste virgins on our wedding night. Are we getting women of great virtue? No, we're not getting women of great virtue. The idea of courtly love is supposed to be done for women of great virtue. Where are they? Well, they're nowhere. And so in modernity, in society, when conservative influencers, female conservative influencers say this, it's actually a form of covert feminism. They're saying, I want privilege in society, right? But what is it women are giving to men to get it? What? What are they giving them? Tell me.
Well,
Can I please chime in here?
Yes, you can. And then James can, and they'll come to you, Sean.
No, I would love to. I love this whole thing of like, if you're a female conservative and you don't believe that men should be douchebags, that all of a sudden you're a covert feminist. Call me a feminist. I really don't give one crap one way or another, but I can tell you this. A lot of these men, these podcast hosts on the right that like to think of themselves as these big masculine men, and what am I getting out of it? I can tell you this.
There's that feminism.
All right, I believe I'm a woman of virtue,
coming
right?
out.
Yeah, there's the feminism. Oh, and then you're interrupting me too.
Didn't take long, did it? Didn't take long, did it?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to speak over me?
Yeah, I don't care if you call me. I don't really care if you call me a
strong,
feminist.
independent woman.
Yeah. You're actually interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you when you were spewing your shit, so now it's my turn. Okay.
You mean
so,
the truth?
like I said before, so I believe there we go again. I'm a woman of virtue. I happen to be independently successful. I have a husband who's not only a former professional athlete, but is currently a professional baseball coach. So is he not a masculine man? I mean, I'm confused here. What's your concept of a masculine man? Mine is a man who respects me.
Yeah, that misses the point, though. Like, you're still not contending with the argument that I'm making. You're saying inside of society, right this second, right, masculinity is not only punished, but also women on the right.
A man of average attractiveness has to swipe right 200 times to get one coffee, and then 4 of those 5 coffees will ghost him. You can't tell women to lower their expectations, but this is the reality. When you ask a man if you could have a woman who had 80% of everything you wanted, 75% say, yeah, I'm on board. When you say to a woman, a man has 80% of what you want, 75% say that's not enough. But even look at the media. What does the media tell a woman to do? He's out. But he didn't open your door. He's not nice to his parent. Walk right out on that man. Like, it's literally every piece of media is, you don't need him. You're a strong, independent woman. Pull the ripcord. You're out. The basic kind of communication around this is you are a strong, independent, powerful woman. That is wonderful. And quite frankly, you don't need the imperfect man. They're just not connecting. I read that on Tinder, a man of average attractiveness has to swipe right 200 times to get one coffee, and then 4 of those 5 coffees will ghost him. They will decide they don't want to meet him or they won't show up. That means a guy of average attractiveness has to swipe right 1,000 times to get one coffee. Now, what does that tell that guy? Women don't value me. Women make me feel rejected. And then they go online and they see these misogynists telling them it's not your fault. And these men become much more prone to misogynistic content, much more prone to nationalistic content, blaming other people for the lack of economic opportunity. They start sequestering from society. I worry that we are literally evolving a new species of asexual, asocial male. And if a man by the age of 30 hasn't either lived with someone or married someone, there's a 1 in 3 chance he's going to have a substance abuse problem.
I'm just like so fucking fed up with everything. I don't want to talk to nobody anymore. I don't want to make any new friends. I don't have any anyways. I don't have money to go anywhere. Can't go on vacation. I feel like I know I'm not the only one mentally just exhausted right now, but I don't know how much more I can take.
I know like a lot of young men feel like life is quite pointless. Like you're kind of told by society to just grind, work super hard, and then have like nothing to show for it really. Especially in today's society, like for an average man to just grind all week, a job he probably hates, and to come home to nothing, it's like, yeah, that would be fucking horrible. Yeah, so like society literally expects young men like yourself to just grind all day, work a job, pay your taxes, come home to no one and just suck it up. It's clear that young men need help. Men in general need help. And the only ones that can help us is ourselves. And that's what I'm trying to do. Because the average man used to be able to, work an average job and still live a happy life, to be honest, where he would have a community with wife and kids and family and friends in a place that kind of felt comfortable for them, where they didn't feel like they had to, suffer in silence and just be ridiculed for things. I don't know. I feel like today's society, men are just ignored. Unless we're actively contributing to society at that exact moment, then no one really cares about men.
I equate boys to dogs. A happy dog is a tired dog. And if it's not tired, if it doesn't get to run, it's going to cause trouble. And I feel the same way about boys. So in these schools where they decide what's best for the boys, there's usually more exercise and more free play and more roughhousing than in co-ed schools. And by even acknowledging that men play a critical role in boys' lives a few years ago, that was seen as sexist. What, you mean, what, you're saying moms can't do this? And I can just tell you there are certain moments when my partner needs me to weigh in. I don't know if it's the depth of my voice, my physical size, the way they relate to me, the fact that I'm not, you need dad. Or that's what I have found, especially with boys. They need almost like that not physical intimidation, but it's almost like they begin tuning out their mom over time. I mean, they're incredibly close to their mother. They look to her for nurturing. When they really have a problem, I find they go to mom. But they will constantly test the boundaries, constantly. And I think a lot of single mothers, quite frankly, with boys, just can't keep a lid on that kid. They can't control the kid. So, and I think you're finding at schools when there's no male involvement or that what I'll call physical presence, and then you add on this DOPA machine that they get used to squeezing a DOPA bag 100 times a day as they need it, and then you take the DOPA bag away, they're just more prone to emotional outbursts.
I have given up looking for a girlfriend at 21. And forget about a wife. That shit is out the fucking window. I'm at the point now where whoever responds to my "what you doing tonight" text first has me. That's it. That's where we're at now. Very simple man. Simple needs.
There's what I would call a bit of a crisis with young men. I would argue relative to almost every other cohort in terms of the progress they've made the last 20 or 30 years, young males have actually made the least progress. And I think a lot about and coach a lot of young men because I think a lot of them are struggling.
I agree. I've seen the same thing. What do you think is one of the root causes?
I think the opportunities that maybe you had and I had aren't as plentiful. It's much more difficult to get into a good school, and it's much more expensive. So you're faced with, do I really want to saddle my family with this debt to go to kind of a tier 2 college? So I think it's difficult. And also, the bottom line is the world is more competitive. We had sort of a monopoly on a lot of industries when you and I were coming out of school, and that trickled down to more opportunity for men. A third of the population got 80% of the spoils. And so it was just awesome to be a white dude in the 80s. And you got free education, and you got opportunity to access free education with incredible admissions rates. So there's just no getting around it. Things have gotten more competitive. And also some of it's warranted and overdue. If a young woman does better on the SAT and has better grades, she deserves to get into a better school. And we're also bringing more international students in, which is both good and bad. It's good for diversity, but also one of the dirty secrets of college is we bring in international students because they pay full freight. The reality is there's just not a lot of room left for kind of average dudes. And that's what I was. So I think it's a variety of factors.
Which is obviously one of the things that going to the gym does. It kind of pulls you out a little bit as well. Going out of fashion, male manners. Open up the door. I still open up the door for my girlfriend every single day, even though apparently they went through a phase where that was seen as like not okay to do. But I've always taken great pride in it. And funnily enough, opening up the door for my partner makes me feel good. Mm-hmm. I'm like doing it for selfish reasons. It makes me feel like a man. It makes me feel strong.
And young men need that. They need the guardrail of a romantic interest, the cocktail or the peanut butter and chocolate of a household where one person is more risk aggressive, that's really important. And pushing the boundaries of what can be done. And then another person who's more practical. And that oftentimes goes into gender roles. Not always, and sometimes it's flipped. But that's a powerful combination. 1 + 1 really does equal 3. And across every species, you see that the majority of really wonderful things, including offspring, but other things in terms of building a society, are a mix of different attributes. And so we have just fewer and fewer of that peanut butter and chocolate in households. There are now more people not only living alone, but living with their parents than ever before because they're not establishing these relationships. So it happens.
I had somebody ask me why I believe that men are unaliving themselves at alarming rates yesterday. And the truth is that men aren't taken seriously, that men aren't listened to. And when we're finally able to muster up the courage to seek help or to express what we're going through, we're met with humiliation. We're met with nobody really caring or anybody taking us seriously. And I speak from experience. I used to tell my ex-wife that I thought the world would be a better place without me because I was a burden on her and my family. She used that against me in court. She used that to make me look unstable when the truth was I just wanted to be told that I mattered. I just wanted to be loved. You know how heartbreaking that is for a man? To finally muster up the courage to open his heart and tell you what he's going through, and it's used against you. That's why men don't speak up. When I told people of the justice system that I was going through a hard time, that they humiliated me, stripped me down butt naked and threw me in a glass cell. Why would a man want to live when he reaches out to his pastor, his therapist, or a good friend, and they just tell him, let it go, you'll be fine? No one telling him that he should live, that he matters. People telling him he's weak because he's having these thoughts. Why would a man who is damaged and going through so much open himself up to humiliation? And we wonder why. It's because nobody cares. Nobody listens. Nobody takes men seriously. And the more they talk about it, the more humiliation they're going to go through. That's the problem. We need to be more mature about this subject. And we need to listen to men. And we actually need to have things in place to help men more than just a 988 number. That's why. Because of stories like mine. And most men don't want to be humiliated the way I have.
I've never heard one of my male friends go, I'm depressed. I'm just super fucking lonely and depressed. You just don't hear that from men. I'm struggling with anger. I'm all of a sudden I have erectile dysfunction. I've never heard one of my male friends, when their mom dies or they get divorced, we weigh in with a lot of empathy, but you never hear them really open up because men are worried that if we display weakness, another man might kill us and take our shit from us, or the women aren't going to want to have sex with us. So there's still, I think, a huge inability for men to proactively talk about how they're really feeling. And then you talked about a board of directors. A great board of directors for a man in his 20s, not unfortunately, is a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I'll just use personal experience. I had a great girlfriend when I was 24, and she basically said to me, if you don't stop getting high every night, I'm going to stop having sex with you. That was very motivating for me. I really liked being with a partner. Without the guardrails of a romantic relationship, I think men are just, I don't want to say lost, but women create more social connections outside of a romantic relationship. And sometimes that absence of a romantic relationship, they pour that energy into friendships and their professional life, whereas men start pouring it into video games and Reddit and porn. So the fact that only 1 in 3 men in America under the age of 30 has a girlfriend and 2 in 3 women has a boyfriend, you think, well, that's mathematically impossible. It's not, because women are dating older because they want more economically and emotionally viable men. 1 out of 3 young men is living with their parents under the age of 25. 1 in 5 are still living with their parents at the age of 30. There's an absence of connection at a young age. Only 1 in 3 men has a girlfriend under the age of 30, 2 or 3 women under the age of 30, because women are dating older because they want more economically and emotionally viable men. People are opting out of America, especially young people. 40 years ago, 60% of 30-year-olds had at least 1 child. Now it's 27%. So the ultimate expression of optimism in a society is you meet someone and you decide to have kids. And so that optimism has been cut in half. So you have this consumer dissonance or fissure between the economic reality and what's going on, because a lot of people aren't doing well. And the social media algorithms love to pit people against each other. You have young people especially not doing well. The average 70-year-old is 72% wealthier than they were 40 years ago. The average person under the age of 40 is 24% less wealthy. And when young people or your kids aren't doing well, it impacts absolutely everybody. And then I would say, just psychologically, when you are making more money at your job, and now wage growth is growing faster than inflation, so purchasing power is going up, prosperity is going up in the US. When you get a raise, you think it's because of your character and your grit. But when the price of cereal is up 40% in the last 5 years, you blame the administration. You have social media algorithms pitting us against each other. You have the political parties have taken on sort of this religious-like feel where the other party is literally the enemy. Young people not doing as well, all sort of overwhelm the notion that America is the least bad in the world right now economically. On any metric, like I said, every nation would kill to have our problems.
I have a lot of women who when they get told like, oh yeah, no, you got to give him half your shit. Or, oh no, you got to pay alimony because he makes 50 grand a year and you make 250. And they're like, you know, they could be the staunchest feminist in the world. And when you tell them they got to pay alimony, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's a man. He's got a strong back. He can get out there and work. And then suddenly the whole like gender is a construct and there's no such thing. That goes right out the window when you get told you got to pay alimony. That's like, nope, no. I believe in strict gender roles. Men should pay alimony. Women, even if you earn 10 times, you should not have to pay alimony. I've had very, very staunchly feminist clients who changed their mind about how feminist they were when they got told that they were going to have to pay alimony.
Young men in particular, for the first time in the last couple of decades, really seem to have abandoned the Democratic Party and have gone for Trump. What are those macro pieces?
So first off, there's some dissonance between the perception. People have called it a vibe session. And that is, if you look at the economic data, it's strikingly different than the perception. The majority of Americans think that America is headed in the wrong direction. And usually that has something to do with the economy. 1 out of 3 young men is living with their parents under the age of 25. 1 in 5 are still living with their parents at the age of 30. There's an absence of connection at a young age. Only 1 in 3 men has a girlfriend under the age of 30, 2 or 3 women under the age of 30, because women are dating older because they want more economically and emotionally viable men. People are opting out of America, especially young people. 40 years ago, 60% of households with a 30-year-old in it, or 60% of 30-year-olds had at least one child. Now it's 27%. So the ultimate expression of optimism in a society is you meet someone and you decide to have kids. And so that optimism has been cut in half. So you have this consumer dissonance or fissure between the economic reality and what's going on, because a lot of people aren't doing well. And the social media algorithms love to pit people against each other. You have young people especially not doing well. The average 70-year-old is 72% wealthier than they were 40 years ago. The average person under the age of 40 is 24% less wealthy. And when young people or your kids aren't doing well, it impacts absolutely everybody. And then I would say just psychologically, when you are making more money at your job, and now wage growth is growing faster than inflation, so purchasing power is going up, prosperity is going up in the US. When you get a raise, you think it's because of your character and your grit. But when the price of cereal is up 40% in the last 5 years, you blame the administration. So you have social media algorithms pitting us against each other. You have the political parties have taken on sort of this religious-like feel where the other party is literally the enemy. Young people not doing as well. All sort of overwhelm the notion that America is the least bad in the world right now economically. On any metric, like I said, every nation would kill to have our problems.
Is it just me, or is this generation absolutely fucking cooked, man? Like, as a male, you're not allowed to be weak, because then you're soft. But you're not allowed to show emotions, because you're weak. If you're a male, you have to stay strong. But if you set too many boundaries, you're insecure, man. But if you play too nice, or you be too nice, then you get played yourself, and you're just weak. It's like, no matter who you are as a male, in this fucking generation, you're never ever gonna be enough. And the pressure is so fucking hard. But don't let that shit get to you. Just keep pushing, man. At the end of the day, what's only gonna matter is what you make matter. If you want other people's opinions to matter about you, then they'll matter. If you want them to, right? Only try to impress yourself. Never please the next person next to you. The real motherfuckers that you want in your life are gonna support you pleasing yourself. No matter what that is. Keep it real, fam.